We have an absolutely extraordinary attitude in our culture and in various other cultures, high civilizations, to the new member of human society. Instead of saying frankly to children, how do you do? Welcome to the human race. We are playing a game, and we are playing by the following rules. We want to tell you what the rules are so that you know your way around, and when you've understood what rules we're playing by, when you get older you may be able to invent better ones. The external world is just as much you as anything inside your skin, in the same way as a flower comes out of a plant or a fruit comes out of a tree. That you are an expression. You, as a human being, are a symptom of nature. The real you is the world itself, everything that there is, expressing itself as this particular organism here and now.
Oh, that's hot. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I didn't hesitate making this video, but I knew it was never going to be good enough for an Aquarius because you can't please Aquarians. They're very difficult to really pin down exactly like who they are and what they stand for. I've never met a single Aquarius that was like another Aquarius. Some qualities kind of match up, but most of the time they're just like, they're very different. They're kind of all over the place in terms of personality, but they're fun. Like, I love Aquarians. I think they're awesome. They're just not all alike. So in making this video, I was like, well, I can't really do anything that stereotypical of an Aquarius because I'm just gonna get it wrong. So instead, what I did was I looked at who my favorite Aquarians are. Paris Hilton, Shakira, Alicia Keys, what's her name? Rachel, Jennifer Aniston. So you see, none of these women really have anything in common other than a few, like, maybe similarities. They're Aquarians, that's about it. But one thing that they do have in common is that they ruled fashion in the early 2000s and the late 90s. And lately I've been seeing this trend of Y2K fashion coming back, so I thought I would do my little modern spin on Y2K fashion, late 90s fashion, and put a little bit of an Aquarius twist to it, which is kind of like individuality and rebellion and wanting to stand out from the crowd and wanting to do your own thing and set your own trends and be your own person, which I think is Aquarius. It's not, so that's why I'm saying, like, it's hard to put Aquarians like even in the same category together because they're so different from each other and from everybody else. You're special, Aquarians. There, I said it. Are you happy? Don't kill me. Okay, so let's start with look number 1. I picked plaid because I thought there was a really big trend in grunge skater fashion, and I thought these plaid pants fit that aesthetic, as well as the oversized denim jacket with a print on it, which I actually designed myself. I really like the baggy fit and the baggy slouchiness of it. I matched my socks to go with my top, and of course it wouldn't be late 90s fashion without a choker tattoo. I paired it with dad sneakers because I thought dad sneakers are a little bit more trendy for today's standards than, say, Converse or Skechers. I need to get some tea. Oh my god, my throat. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Tone deaf as fuck. Okay, so I just spent 5 minutes warming up my vocal cords. I don't think it's much better. I just have a vocal tear. I have to fucking learn to speak. It's hard. Okay, so let's move on to look number 2. So for the second look, I was inspired by Manny Santos from Degrassi. When she wore that blue thong on Degrassi when I was in middle school or elementary school, I just remember thinking like, whoa, this is fashion, this is style. I was way too young to ever pull off a look like that. I don't know where I would ever wear it except for like to the clubs, and I don't go to the clubs, so I'll probably never wear this look out, but I just really liked, I mean, I think it's kind of an iconic look. And also I was kind of feeling like the low-rise jeans, the William Rast low-rise jeans. These are my sister's that I stole when I went back to Oregon. Thanks sis, I always stole these jeans when I was in high school, so now I'm putting on was like putting on an old friend. It felt so familiar and so different because now I usually wear things that sit on my natural waist. So that low-rise fit, I was like, wow, memories. And then I paired it with a white blouse tied up a la Britney Spears, the New York hat, because I don't know why when I see this hat I just think of like the Cheetah Girls and how they were all always coordinating their outfits with the rhinestones and the glitter and the glitz, and I thought it added kind of like that nice little bit of bling to the look. Then for my last and final fit, this fit was kind of all over the place, but I liked it the most. I picked the plaid skirt because I was really inspired by urban Cher Horowitz, because I think we see the clueless look being recreated all the time, but I wanted to do my own little spin on it and my own little take on it. So I paired it with a body chain. I loved wearing body chains when I was in middle school because I love Shakira, and she was always wearing things on her hips to kind of accentuate her hips. You know, her hips don't lie in any fit. That joke sucks. Why am I saying this? Okay. The Parisian hat, pulled to the side, a la Lizzie McGuire. Berets were very in at the time, but it also reminds me of just like a Bratz doll. And that's trending on YouTube. Brat doll fashion making a comeback. So I'm here for it. And then dad sneakers again with the slouchy white socks to make the look cohesive and all come together. I had a lot of fun with this look in particular, and I would actually wear this out. So it was probably my favorite look. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Especially with like the long trench just to keep it warm, because Aquarius season is in February. So I know a hoe never gets cold, but I get cold. It's still too hot. So that's it for my Aquarian inspired lookbook. I liked the Y2K fashion era. I didn't at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, some of that stuff was really fun. And I think it's more of a nostalgic mood than it is like good fashion. I think people like it because it's reminiscent of a time when things were so much simpler. Literally the simple life. Oh my gosh. So to kind of get inspired for this lookbook, I rewatched The Simple Life.
Ever had a real job?
No.
I don't know.
What is Walmart?
Oh my god! Oh my god, get out of the car. Dude, your check is in the mail.
What are wells for?
Just to see what the fashion was, and because I didn't want to go in like a very Paris Hilton kind of direction, but Paris Hilton is a genius. Paris Hilton is not taken seriously by anyone because of The Simple Life and because of her history, her sex tape, whatever, but she came up with the concept for The Simple Life, and I think not enough people give her credit for that, because she was pioneering an entire new genre of entertainment kind of by herself. Her and Nicole Richie did that, and a lot of producers were coming to her for reality TV show ideas about like following her around, and she was like, no, I want to do something different. And I want to do something that's never been done. I want to have fun. I don't want to just have you follow me around shopping Beverly Hills. And thus they came up with a concept for The Simple Life. What's crazy about The Simple Life is that it's, you know, the early 2000s, and they're going around. Well, in the first season, they stay with one family, and then for the rest of the seasons, they travel around the country and they go to different, very rural areas where life is different. And I never watched The Simple Life growing up because my dad was really conservative and he just didn't want me watching that kind of television. He thought it was trashy, rightfully so. Now looking back at it, it's like, you know, with fresh eyes, having never seen it before, more than just the fashion bringing back a nostalgia, it's kind of crazy to see how people actually lived. Like in the first episode, they're staying on a porch with his family, and there's like a well in their room because that's how they get their water. And it's not really mentioned that these people are probably living very close to the poverty line, like dangerously close, either under it or right hovering around it. And that's never really talked about in the show, but that's kind of the reality of the situation of so many Americans who live in rural areas like that. And I know when I grew up in rural Oregon, it was kind of a similar vibe. If my family had grown up in an urban area, we'd definitely be under the poverty line. But because we grew up in a rural area where you can, you know, you can learn to be more self-sufficient, you have space, you have land. Family is so, so important in rural communities and community. I didn't really have a lot of the negative side effects that come along with growing up living kind of like near the poverty line, because we grew up in the country, so it's just a little bit different. Where was I going with this? Oh, so when it comes to Paris Hilton, her having a reality show where she's going into these families' homes and she's showcasing this kind of way of life, everyone at first is always like, oh yeah, fuck Paris Hilton, like she's just a rich bitch. They don't really take her very seriously, but then you can start to see everyone's starting to love her, and she's growing on people, and people are like, the older generations don't really get it, but the younger generations do. They're like, she's hilarious, we get it, she's so outspoken, she's funny, she's charismatic, she tells the truth. I have a point, I promise. I think the formula for The Simple Life wasn't necessarily all there, because Paris and Nicole, when the show was doing great, I think that's when it was because they were getting along. But then they had the feud, and then the show just really wasn't the same after that, because you could see where it was scripted. And obviously, like, them going into these different scenarios and situations are really, they're manipulated, but their reactions to things aren't scripted, so there was still that room for improv and chaos, which people were really drawn to at the time. So once they had their feud and it was like they were forced to be hanging out together, it wasn't as fluid, and it just didn't have the same kind of popularity. And that's when Kim Kardashian came up with Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and they hit the jackpot formula because they're family, and no matter how much they feud, you can't break a blood bond. They have found a formula that works, and it's been working for like 16, 17 years now. But Paris Hilton pioneered that entire genre, and now we have, in that way, she changed the media, she changed entertainment, she changed reality TV, and she changed, in a way, our political proceedings, because we now have a reality star in the White House.
My name is Donald Trump, and I'm the largest developer in New York. I even have a television show.
For the exact same reasons, people who didn't like Paris Hilton later became fans of Paris Hilton. Being outspoken, telling the truth, keeping it real, being candid, and just showing like a personal side of you that builds trust. Even though there's a camera separating Paris from her audience, the same way there's a lens separating Donald Trump from his audience. But he capitalized on that formula that she created, that Kim later perfected. My point in all of this, the fashion is great, and I think that's really cool, but I think the even bigger takeaway is, when it comes to an Aquarius, don't ever underestimate them. Paris Hilton changed the world. I thought that was just fascinating. I thought about it for days, honestly. I was like, The Simple Life changed the course of history. I need to wrap up this video. I'm tired of talking. So I want to say thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, let me know. I'll catch you in my next video. Ciao.
Gorgeous.